Hello, hello. Welcome back to another edition of the NCCR Podcast. My name is DeVandis Smith. Alongside me is...
Kim Matson.
How you doing, Miss Kim?
I'm good.
Great. We're coming with you. We're going to be short. We're going to be brief. We're going to be brilliant.
Wow. You're promising a lot.
Oh, okay.
We'll be two of those three things.
We will attempt to be, right? Kim, it's good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
How was your Sunday?
It was really great.
Did you enjoy the good food?
The food was amazing.
Matt,
He has got a gift for
2 thumbs up,
doing
Matt.
those things.
I love that habanero sauce.
Oh, man, that was really
what
good.
we're talking about, mango sauce, not habanero.
Mango peach,
Mango
jalapeno,
peach.
habanero,
Yes.
whatever. It was
Yes.
really good.
If
It
you
was a
missed
chutney.
Chutney, yeah.
Yes.
If you missed it, we had our fall kickoff with pulled pork, and Matt and the team did an excellent job.
It was very
We're launching our life group, so
very good.
yeah. If
Yes.
you're not a part of the life group,
Find one.
find one. This young lady and her wonderful husband has an excellent life group, but I think it's kind of full.
It is at present, yes.
Yeah. So sorry, but
There's
there's
plenty-
others.
there's plenty more to
others.
choose
Yes.
from.
All right. All right, Kim. Pastor Steve started a new series
He did.
entitled Guardrails. But I must chastise Pastor Steve
Mm-hmm.
because the sermon did not allude to any guardrails.
It didn't really have much to do with guardrails.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will
Yes.
moving forward.
Yes, going forward, it will be some more guardrails in that. I hope give us something to talk about. Abide in Jesus was his sermon topic, but my girl Kim. Well, let me clear that up. My friend, my lady friend, Kim.
What? That sounds worse.
It did. I was just
Ew.
trying to be politically correct
I don't
here.
care what you say. You know me well enough to know that I don't care what you say.
That's what
Just
I love
as long
you
as
so
there's
much.
friend in there, we're
Yes,
good.
Yes, okay. Kim, what is your murder to sermon title?
Keep your eyes on the road.
Keep your eyes on the road.
I am sticking with the guardrail metaphor.
You know, I think this, Kim, if we're living like Christ, which is the best thing the world could ever do, it could be essentially guardrails.
Correct. Yes. Essentially. Apparently not.
But when Pastor Steve said that in his message,
Yeah.
I was like, man, you know what? I thought about it. I was like, if everyone lived like Christ, there would be a lot less confusion,
Yes.
and you would be served because you're serving.
Well, your path would be clear.
Yeah.
Right? Much like a guardrail would provide you. You know, you can think of Christ as that. And because without guardrails, well, we've all seen a car in a movie go flying over the
Flying
edge
over the edge, yeah.
because they thought they knew better than what they could see in front of them.
Exactly.
So if
And-
you don't have something to kind of keep you on the
on
path,
the path, yeah.
chaos ensues.
Exactly. And you know, one of the first series of guardrails, in my opinion, here, it is just flying off the top of the dome.
We
here,
are
but
freelancing
it's nothing
today.
that I have written down. But in Matthew, the Beatitudes,
Mm.
guardrails,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I can go there with the guardrail title
Yeah, but
if we think
Make it a
of
little
Christ as a
clearer.
guardrail.
yes,
Yes.
Christ is the guardrail. His standard is the guardrail for the world.
Well, and he talked a lot about discipleship as well, or an apprenticeship he referenced it
Yes.
as, which I kind of like that because it's similar, right? But an apprentice is learning at the hands of or at the feet of the
Mhm.
person who actually has the skill set, right? And it's a period of time that's pretty intense, and there's a lot of study involved, and so I kind of like that visual.
Mhm.
Because if we're not studying and we're not paying attention, we're not at the feet and we're not listening to the instruction, I don't want you fixing the electric box at my house, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just Doesn't make any sense. So we can't go out there and do what we're tasked with doing if we're not understanding the plan.
Exactly. You know, Steph and I, we was talking. And she kept using apprenticeship. Got to be an apprentice, to the world, and because you're learning and stuff. And may I give her a plug real quick?
Sure.
She did an excellent job with the prayer.
I know.
And I told her she had an A++, but then I had to take away one of the pluses when she started trying to sing. I'm like, babe, stay in your lane.
She was fine.
No, she wasn't. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
She was
Let
fine.
the praise and worship team sing.
Stephanie, you were making a joyful noise. I don't care what he says.
It was a noise. It was a noise.
She was joyful.
Okay.
I texted her. I waited till she was done, and I texted her as well that was well
she
done.
did a great job.
Well done.
And like you, she took to the terminology of apprenticeship. And Pastor Steve was also talked about being covered in the Jewish tradition, being covered with the dust of your rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking on, and
you're following so close.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And going in the line of the apprenticeship, I like to work with woodworking and stuff. I like working with wood and stuff. And when you're cutting up different woods and stuff, as you're an apprentice to the master craftsman. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. The master craftsman, right? You cutting it, all the sawdust. I'm visualizing all the sawdust, getting on him. It's filtering off of him, and you just covered in the sawdust. Also, man, it's a beautiful thing to be covered. You walking so closely, with the master that.
Well, you want to see every fine detail, right? Yes. You want to see all the things, and kind of dwell in that, right?
Yes.
You want to understand every minute detail of what's happening,
and
to the best of our ability.
And as you was talking, Kim, it made me think of the story of Mary, how she was just sitting at the feet of Jesus, soaking in every word that he was teaching.
Yep.
And she was just like a little child, just soaking up every little word. Man, that has got to be a great feeling, man. To sit at the feet of the master.
Yep.
Or in line with that. So.
Well, Steve also mentioned that discipleship or apprenticeship looks very different now than it did then. I mean, for a multitude of reasons. But he kind of posed the question. I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but are you the same as you are discipling folks or attempting to do so? Are you the same person inside of your home as you are outside of your home? Because, are you authentic or are you performative was the word he used. And of course I had to Google search the appropriate meaning as to not assume certain things. And among other things, it is an action taken specifically with an audience in mind to elicit a response or a reaction, like living for the likes.
So what I'm hearing you say is, are you a cultural Christian?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when he gave the terminology what a cultural Christian is, if you didn't hear it, I will tell you. A cultural Christian is someone who identifies with Christian cultural traditions and practice, but may not necessarily adhere to all the beliefs and teaching of Christianity. They may participate in Christian holidays, ceremonies, rituals, but their faith may be more based on cultural or social norms rather than personal beliefs.
Yeah, I call myself a Christian. Cool.
What are you doing?
What's that look like?
I just live how
I just like all the things that Christians do. I feel like I'm a good person.
I am a good person.
So I must be a Christian.
I am a good person. Yeah. But not walking
wrong.
But not walking with the man.
Well, it's even to the believer versus the follower. Because a lot of people will profess their faith, but they're not doing anything about it. So, yeah.
And like you, as you was talking about, what are you doing in private? versus public and stuff. When you're doing this apprenticeship, there's a lot of time where you just have to do that, boom, by yourself. Not necessarily by yourself, but in your private closet.
Correct. Yes.
And you're working, when you're honing in on your skills, that means you're reading your Bible, you're studying the Word, you're listening to the messages of your pastor, your rabbi, or whoever it may be.
Yep.
And you're just soaking up all that information. And then when it's time, you can have something to expound on to your neighbor, your friend.
Yep.
But if you're not soaking it up this year, what do you have to offer? And I think Pastor Steve alluded into that also in his
And
message.
also, your rabbi, your teacher, should not be the thing that you follow in that regard. He's an instrument of the Word, and not to be viewed at as the end all.
Yeah.
And he's cautioned that many times.
Yeah.
Because we all know of the big churches that have gotten in a dust up, and because people started following the person as opposed to God.
Yep.
And that's a pretty horrible idea.
Yes.
As it turns out.
Yeah, it can lead to death and destruction, literally.
Yeah.
I think of the Jonestown. And,
oh yeah, there was a special on just the other day about that, because it must have been the anniversary. I hate kind of using that term on something like that, but So Steve posed the question too: where is your emotional home?
I had that one next. What is your emotional home?
Yeah.
What do you turn to regularly? When you in distress, or I need to feel good. I'm turning to this here. If it's not him,
I mean, those other things are a byproduct, if you will, but you need to go to God for the question and answer session of your problem. Yes. And then the rest is, Steve said he likes to ride his motorcycle to clear his head. That's cool. I mean, some people like to work in their yard, I like to just go to Snohomish and walk through antique stores. People have their own things. You do woodworking. I mean, it's just a head clearing event, and that's a gift as well. I think that we do have an outlet for those things, but we need to start with a prayer to God first, and then go to our quiet place, or the place that gives us some rest.
Kim, I was going to say we need a input plug in before we get our output.
Yeah.
And so, and when you plug in, your output would be even better, or your place, would be even better.
Yeah.
All right, Kim and Kim, you got a question for the audience?
Well, it was Steve's question, so I can't take credit for it.
Okay. All right. That's rare. That's rare.
Are you getting into heaven or getting heaven into you? What are you working on?
Because I know a lot of them got a lot of hell in them.
Ruh-roh.
Wow, that's a good one, Kim. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, guys, hit like, subscribe, so you can stay up to date with the latest podcast. Until then, we